knee injury that he left the game on Sunday with against the 49ers. For the Giants, we have Rhett Ellison and Golden Tate, both in concussion protocol. Evan Ingram, the other tight end, is nursing a foot injury. He's listed as questionable. And safety Jabril Peppers is nursing a hip injury. He, too, is listed as questionable.
Well, apparently on Thanksgiving, I missed Josh's write-up of the Bears-Lions. It starts with, these two teams are a joke. So just like Kevin, right. I hope that line holds up over time. But yeah, I don't have anything from Jared for this particular game. I have
that of a short week.
I have Monty. I have Monty for the Raiders, Neil for the Redskins, and of course Nick for the Chiefs. So when we get to those games, and two of those are for one game, so there's only two write-ups. I didn't ask for them this week, quite honestly. All right, so we're all going with the Packers. That's enough talk for that particular game, because this one is a good one. It is the Tennessee Titans at 6-5 against the Indianapolis Colts, who are 6-5. This is teams 15 and 13, respectively. Colts are at home. They are favored by 2.5 points in this particular game. By the way, in the third quarter last week, Derrick Henry recorded rushing touchdowns of 74 and 7 yards in a 16-second span and became the first player since Pro Football Hall of Famer and snubbed from the NFL 100 greatest team list, LaDainian Tomlinson, who scored 2 touchdowns in 15 seconds in week 10 of 2006.
Huge snub.
Yeah, I can't believe he's not on that team. With his 74-yard touchdown run, though, Derrick Henry joined Napoleon Kaufman and Robert Smith as the only players in NFL history to record a rushing touchdown of at least 70 yards in 3 consecutive seasons. I say that's a nice story, but Mike Vrabel is 0-3 versus Frank Reich and the Indianapolis Colts. T.Y. Hilton might still be out for this one, James?
He is listed as questionable. His calf tightened up during their last game of the Thursday night at Houston. But be more concerning, Marlon Mack is ruled out with a hand injury.
Yeah, well, he's got a broken hand. He's probably going to be out for the rest of the season.
Kari Willis, Rock Ya-Sin, and Paris Campbell also show up on the injury report as questionable. For the Titans, Kevin Pamphile, guard, Delaney Walker, tight end, and LaShawn Sims, cornerback, all listed as questionable.
Quite honestly, this will be a super interesting game to watch, although unfortunately here in Connecticut, I'm forced to watch the Giants and the Jets. I don't get to see this game, but we are all taking the Colts at home.
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm taking the Colts. They're at home. Oh, and Jacoby Brissett is back at quarterback, so, all's good in the world.
Well, I never thought Brian Hoyer was going to take the job from him. I didn't think that was going to happen.
Hey, first of all, you will not curse at me on this podcast. Second of all, that guy should not be on a football team.
Oh, man, I don't know about that, but
hey, that name is profane. Mentioning it, in fact, putting quarterback in front of his name is an abomination, because I can't recall what he did quarterbacking.
Oh, James.
Going ham. I have one thing to say. Chip Kelly.
He was
I was waiting.
Wow.
I was waiting for it.
That was so low. Wow, Kevin. That cut deep.
That cut deep. I do apologize. It is the holiday season. I shouldn't have went there.
But how do you have a playoff caliber roster and your backup quarterback gives the ball to the Miami Dolphins, of all teams, 4 times, 3 picks and a fumble, 4 times. Listen. And yet the defense by themselves almost won that game. He cost them more than the Dolphins did.
Technically, Hoyer was the 3rd string quarterback when before the season started. So
this is true.
Yeah, he was never supposed to see the field. Just.
Then he should have never been put on the roster.
Well, that's an argument for another day. Let's argue about the Philadelphia Eagles, 5-6, at the Miami Dolphins, 2-9.
Boy, come on,
Eagles.
Dolphins.
Eagles are 12th. Eagles are 12th in the power rankings. Dolphins are 31st again. They haven't quite taken the Cincinnati Bengals spot yet. They probably won't.
2 games.
Eagles are favored by 9.5 in this particular game. I literally have nothing on this one.
Wow.
Even the NFL 100 nugget was really bad. It was something about Irving Fryer in the first time the Eagles met the Dolphins or something. I don't know. It was stupid.
I'll give you a better nugget, and this is one everybody should know. On a somewhat cold, chilly day in Philadelphia back in 1980, blah, blah, maybe early 90-something, Don Shula recorded his 350th win against the Philadelphia Eagles, making him the all-time winningest coach.
Oh, well, there you go. Let's see. Is the weather going to be bad? Nope. The weather's going to be real nice in Miami. 81, partly cloudy.
Yeah.
81, partly cloudy. That's going to be the game to be at. How about Jordan Howard? Is Jordan Howard going to be at that game?
Let's see. Currently listing as questionable with his shoulder injury, limited in practice. Alshon Jeffrey nursing an ankle. Nelson Aguilar nursing a knee and his hands. Lane Johnson still in concussion protocol, so I'm not sure about that. Carson Wentz has a bruised finger on his throwing hand, and Brandon Brooks.
He's a bruised ego.
All seriousness aside here, I don't play around when it comes to mental illness, and Brandon Brooks has been treated for his anxiety. Unfortunately, on Sunday's game, it did get the best of him. Again, anxiety is one of those things where you have good days, you have bad days, and sometimes you may have good moments and bad moments within, a matter of seconds. So I wish nothing but the best for Brandon Brooks. I commend him for even suiting up and playing the first half in the game Sunday. Halftime, the attack was more than he could bear, and he missed the second half of the game. He is showing up on the report as questionable. Throughout the week, I'm pretty sure he's going to do everything he can to, suit up for Sunday and be there for the team. But, Brandon Brooks, look, we live in a day and age in which the sensitivity for mental illness is slowly coming around and people becoming more understanding about these issues. No more are we like, well, suck it up and get in there and play. These are serious issues because people with mental illness of any stature, no matter what it is, can easily teeter towards the dark side very quickly and not recover from it. So Brandon Brooks, always be in your corner, and I hope everything's getting better for you.
That is really well said.
Good. No, James, it is really well said. I respect it a lot, for sure. Brandon Brooks, I do have a lot of respect for him because it's really hard to come out and say that kind of stuff.
Especially the stigma we put on athletes in all sports.
Well, and I'd like to add that I don't normally like to joke about stepchildren because I was a stepchild, but the Eagles did cut their redheaded stepchild, Jordan Matthews, once again.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, because I guess they expect Alshon or Nelson Aguilar to be ready for Sunday. That's all that was. It didn't make any sense because Carson Wentz doesn't know. Okay, so Pi, help me understand here, and Kevin, because you're in this current situation. Your teams, your quarterbacks currently have had or currently have a player at the receiver position who's approximately, say, 6'3" or taller. When the quarterback throws that, when the receiver runs that 8 to 12 yard stick route, that nice little dig when they run up, stop on a dime, turn around, the ball comes right there, and they're covered by that 5'8", 5'10" corner. Does the quarterback throw the ball chest high at his knees or up in the air so they can reach over that smaller DB and catch it?
Well, I think a lot depends on the positioning of the defender, but I would definitely not throw it chest high. I'd either go low or high, and high preferably, right, so the receiver can make a play.
High preferably? Oh, okay. Because here's what Carson Wentz is doing. He's throwing the ball in the position where DBs can make plays on the ball when he is targeting our wide receivers. And Alshon is 6'3", Mac Hollins and Arcega-Whiteside are also 6'3", and yet he's not giving them a chance to make plays on the ball because he's either throwing in the ground or chest high where DBs can get to it. So I don't want to hear anything about our receivers not getting separation. They're kind of big and slow, which means you need to throw it up so they can jump over the DBs to get it.
Have the Eagles signed the baby catcher yet? That's what I want to know. Have they considered
baby catcher?
Yeah, that guy who saved the baby, caught the baby out of the burning building.
They haven't signed that guy yet.
Yeah,
they haven't signed that guy yet. And while I did pick the Eagles to win this game, I am cautiously nervous about it only because the Dolphins, look, this is a prideful squad. The front office has done everything to sabotage them to make sure they go 0-16. And lo and behold, they screw that up and win 2 games. So you've got players who are like, we're not a joke. We want, some of us want to play next year. We at least want to get in somebody's camp and prove that we can play, while the rest of the league is like, oh, scout team, talent to be plucked, maybe.
Sorry, I was just distracted by my wife who tried to make a joke about babies, but then told me there are a ton of cookies waiting for me in the kitchen. So this is
easily distracted.
This is a very exciting time right now in the Vader household. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, talk about not exciting. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are at the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is team 24 in the Jaguars versus team 25 in the Bucs. Jaguars only favored by 1 point in this particular game, which doesn't make a lot of sense because the Jaguars have won 4 of the past 5. The Bucs have never won in Jacksonville. They are 0-3. Jameis Winston is up to 20 interceptions on the season while having 2 wide receivers over 1,000 yards after 11 games, which has happened only, I think, 2 or 3 other times. The Greatest Show on Turf being the most notable of those 2 or 3 other times. Record number of interceptions in a season, by the way, is 42 by George Blanda back in 1962. Christ. I don't think Jameis will reach him. However, in second place is another Buccaneers quarterback, Vinny Testaverde, in 1988 had 35 interceptions on the season.
God, what the?
So I think Jameis can get there, and this game could possibly help him get there a lot quicker. We are all taking Jacksonville.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Buccaneers won this game. Nick Foles did not look great in Jacksonville's last 2 outings at Indy and the game last week against Tennessee. I understand they want him to be the guy, but whether it's the offensive play calling or the running game not, giving them the punch when they need it. Aside from that first drive against the Colts 2 weeks ago, this offense hasn't done much of anything.
Oh, I predicted Gardner Minshew sighting in the second half.
Depends on how out of control it gets. If it's close, not really. If Tampa Bay is somehow blowing them out, then your pick goes out the window because that means Shaq Barrett can tee off and, continue. Is he still leading the league in sacks or is he falling off?
No, I don't think so, but he's up there.
I don't think he's the league leader now. I'll look that up while Kevin talks about this game.
Oh, wow. A lot of pressure. Well, let's see. The best player on the field is Leonard Fournette. Jameis Winston is probably going to throw minimum 2 picks. If it was in Tampa Bay, I might have gone with the Buccaneers, but it's in Jacksonville. Their defense plays way better at home than on the road. They still have a pretty ferocious front line. So yeah, the Buccaneers and Jameis they don't scare me. They sometimes surprise me, have a good showing once in a while. Last week was all right. Although Jameis was up and down, and I'm pretty sure he threw a pick on his first pass of the game. So yeah, I'm only going with the Jaguars because I feel they'll win the turnover battle.
By the way, Shaq Barrett is in fact tied for first in the league still with Chandler Jones at 12.5 sacks. But I feel like Shaq Barrett had 12.5 sacks after week 4.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
TJ Watt is in third with 11.5 sacks. So interesting that the top 3 sackers in the league right now are on lousy football teams.
Where's Robert Quinn on that list?
Not in the top 5 because it's Preston Smith with 10.5 and then Eric Armstead finally on a good team. Well, I guess Green Bay is a decent team too. Eric Armstead has 10 sacks, and now I will expand the list to find whom you just asked for. Oh, poor Myles Garrett was in a tie for 5th too. That's a shame.
Mm-hmm. Such a shame.
Robert Quinn is in 8th with 9.5, along with Cam Jordan.
Nice. And he did miss the first 2 games, so yeah, very impressive.
There you go.
Quick hits on the injury. We have Josh Allen, Miles Jack, Calais Campbell, Seth DeVal and Ronnie Harrison for the Jaguars all listed as questionable, mostly knee injuries. Calais Campbell still nursing the back. For the Buccaneers,